Hello and welcome to this episode of Political Adda. There's a growing chorus from within the Telugu Desam party to promote Minister Nara Lokesh as the Deputy Chief Minister. How can it impact the party and the NDA? This is the subject that we have taken up for discussion today. We have with us Chakravarti Nalamotu, Chairperson AP Tomorrow, a civil society platform. Also joining is my colleague Prasad to discuss what it means for the TDP as well as for the ruling alliance. So, well, my first question, why the demand and what do you make of the timing?
It's been almost 7 months since the NDA government came into power in Andhra Pradesh state. So the NDA alliance in the state is made up of Telugu Desam Party, BJP and Janasena. Those are the three parties that contested together in the last General Assembly. And clearly Janasena is led by Pawan Kalyan, an actor turned politician who's been now in politics for almost 10 years. So he's fairly seasoned. Then there is TDP, which is the majority winner, and then there is BJP. Now, in the alliance, Janasena is led by Pawan Kalyan, is aspiring for a higher political office at some point. The fact that he has a separate party from TDP, that itself is an indication that he has political aspirations that go beyond where he is today. They have won 21 seats, they've contested 21 and all 21, and won all 21. And if you look at some of the developments that have happened over the course of the last few months, Janasena leader has been is enjoying the power. He's the deputy chief minister. At the same time, he also acts as an opposition leader. Starting with the Laddu scam, if you remember in TTD, Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam, where the Laddu was suspected to have been used wrong kind of ghee, where he has criticized the government for what has happened. Then recently, he went after the Home Minister of Andhra Pradesh state, saying if she doesn't get her act together in terms of violent acts or criminal cases being filed, in the cases of violence against women and children. And he has said if she doesn't step up, I will have to take her job, is what he said. Quite literally, that's what he said. So that was one case. And then another one was there is rice smuggling that has been happening. He went and tried to board a ship that doesn't belong to, it is not flagged in India, but it is registered elsewhere. So clearly what he's trying to do is project himself, which again, is expected in politics. I mean, he didn't, obviously you wouldn't expect him to stick with the 21 seat Janasena party. But the issue here comes is, where the ruling, the largest coalition partner, which TDP, is being painted in the, in a bad light. And that probably is also putting some pressure on the TDP leadership, because the next level after Chandrababu Naidu is his son. His son was projected as the next leader after CBN, after Chandrababu Naidu. So I think this chorus is coming up because of the growing popularity of Janasena leader Pawan Kalyan. That's my suspicion.
Well, but many within the party, TDP, I mean, say that, Lokesh overcame challenges, worked tirelessly for the party's growth at grassroots level. So, even if there is this demand, what is wrong in it? So what's your view on that?
Oh, I don't find any fault with it as such. And I do agree with what you said about Lokesh, where he was, let's say, 5 or 6 years ago versus where he is today. He's run a very successful campaign prior to the recent elections. Yuvagalam, I think, is what it was called. He did a Padayatra. He walked, crisscrossed the entire state multiple times, few thousand kilometers. I don't know the exact number. And he was immensely popular. His meetings were well attended. He was able to inspire his party cadre and very successful. So I do not, I by no means I'm saying he's not qualified or not fit to be a deputy CM, but the political equation it appears is to probably checkmate Pawan Kalyan's growing popularity, and probably TDP cadre also are feeling a little bit of heat given the growing popularity of Pawan Kalyan, and they probably want to project Lokesh as the next leader after CBN, because CBN clearly is aging. I think he's 76 now. The prospects of him being as active for the next election don't look very good. So the next rung of leadership has to be prepared. And in that light, I think it makes sense for Lokesh to be projected as a deputy CM. But what it will do to Pawan Kalyan, I do not know. The internal equations that they have. Today, there is one, when Jagan Mohan Reddy was the chief minister of Andhra Pradesh, he had five deputy chief ministers. But when TDP came into power, it's just Pawan Kalyan. So you put another deputy chief minister, it would dilute the position that Pawan Kalyan is in, and whether he would object, we don't know how the internal equations are between the two parties.
Sir, TDP leaders might be making a rightful claim for the Lokesh to become the deputy CM, but the JSP has already expressed its reservations, in fact, objections. One of the JSP leader, Kiran Royal, said that it's fair for them to expect Lokesh to become deputy CM, like we want our leader to become the next CM.
Right. So, see, it's an alliance, compelled alliance prior to the elections to face a formidable opponent in the name of Jagan Mohan Reddy. The fact that there are different parties itself means they are competing with each other. They are not friendly parties. It's only an alliance for election. But post-election, it is not like a national party of, it's not like an NDA or UPA, where the regional parties of different states come together. There is not so much of friction. Let's say TDP is with BJP at the center. They have their own ministers, but there is not as much friction. They're not trying to contest an election in UP or Madhya Pradesh or Rajasthan. But if you look at regional parties within the state, clearly they have to compete. I mean, Pawan Kalyan has to project himself, has to make himself more popular. And TDP has to try its best to control him, to limit his popularity. So that's where the friction would come. Janasena, anything but natural for them to oppose making Lokesh a deputy CM, because now there are two deputy CMs, and that would dilute the political power or the political capital that Pawan Kalyan would have in that context.
Then, being aware of all these things, why TDP leaders are making these claims, and Naidu has also not categorically objected to this demand. Privately, he might have admonished some of these leaders, but then there is no, even when TG Bharat at Davos made that remark that whether somebody would like it or not, that Lokesh would be the next CM, he is the future, and all that. Naidu and Lokesh both were present on the same platform as, but did not say or react to that statement there.
See, the politics is all about signaling. So there's a lot of signaling going on. Pawan Kalyan, with few of these incidents against the Home Minister, against the ship that he said seize the ship when he has no authority to do so, and in TTD Laddu scam, recent stampede, he has demanded publicly, calling media, saying the TTD chairman should apologize in public. They have cabinet meetings. He could have picked up the phone and talked to the TTD chairman and say, what has happened is unfortunate and you need to own responsibility. He could have done something like that. He did not do. What did he do? He called the media. He called the media and said, I apologize for what has happened in Tirupati, when he had no role. It is not his ministry. He has nothing to do with it. It is not part of his portfolio. But he said, I am apologizing when it is not his place to apologize. And immediately after apologizing, he said, I demand the TTD chairman to apologize. So this is more of he's playing a role of an opposition. So my guess, if I'm in Chandrababu Naidu's shoe, I would want to put pressure on him. And a great way of putting pressure on him is projecting his son as deputy CM. I'm not saying I don't have any evidence of them doing, but knowing politics and how they work, this is a signal. Either you get a grip on yourself, or we will we will try to control you. And how do we control you? We'll project more of Lokesh as a future leader. We'll make him deputy chief minister. And this is it's going to be a rocky road. Everybody knows from get-go. So the honeymoon phase is over. It's going to be a rocky road. Both the parties are going to jostle for more public, popularity, more of their eyeballs, public eyeballs. So I am not at all surprised at what's going on, and I only think it's going to get worse.
So all that was expected, maybe 2 years or 2.5 years from now, but it's just barely like 7 months.
It's too soon.
Why should two parties invite such friction so early when they are, especially Naidu is faced with so many challenges, Amravati, Polavaram, fulfillment of his Super 6 promises? Why now is the question.
Yeah, it is too soon, and it is also being done by Pawan Kalyan in not a very sophisticated fashion. Pawan Kalyan is known to be emotional and often he has these knee-jerk reactions that get him into trouble. As I said again, a deputy chief minister going on a boat and trying to board a foreign flagged ship, saying seize the ship. These things, he doesn't seem to even understand the role and the authority of some of these organizations. It's no place for him to do that. But that's Pawan Kalyan. He's a movie star. He's known to be emotional, and I feel it is a little too soon. It could have been done much later. So I don't know, but he's much more friendly with BJP, on good terms with BJP, and I do not know if it is blessed by BJP. But as I said, this alliance by design is going to be a difficult alliance. And I agree with you, Prasad Garu, that it is a little too soon. 7 months is too soon. And people, I don't know. I feel politically it is not a wise thing for Pawan Kalyan to start this early in the 5-year tenure of an alliance government.
Well, in the course of this program, we are also taking questions from our viewers. Shubham Bhattacharya wants to know that what will Pawan Kalyan do, and at the same time, will NDA remain united in Andhra Pradesh?
That's a loaded question. None of us have a crystal ball, but we kind of see what's happening. As Prasad Garu had pointed out, it's barely 7 months, and this friction didn't start now. This has started when I think the first one was when that Laddu scam broke out. So this is going on for 2-3 months. So it started barely 4 to 5 months into the government forming, the alliance government forming. And it's giving us some hints about what the future is going to be. But if they wisen up, because I think these are best done in later years of the term, because they can focus on the progress of the state, and as Prasad Garu has pointed out, Amaravati, Polavaram, and a lot of projects are coming in. You work on the development, and then the last 2 years, maybe year and a half, right? You need to differentiate yourself from the other party. Maybe some of the friction can start. But the fact that it started so soon doesn't bode well for the alliance. But saying that, TDP by itself today has a full majority to hold and continue in the government. So there are 175 seats in Andhra Pradesh state. TDP holds 135, if I remember correctly. Janasena 21, and I believe BJP 8. My numbers may be off by 1 or 2 here and there. So TDP by itself has a majority. So there is no threat to the government. So if the alliance falls apart, the government doesn't fall.
Right.
So that's one thing that brings stability, at least to this election, because they have won with such a huge landslide. Out of 175 assembly seats, 164 were won by alliance. 164. Yeah. So that's like an unprecedented landslide victory that we have seen in Andhra Pradesh. So that brings some stability, but the friction is there where the Janasena party is trying to gain more traction among the populace. In the 2019 election, Janasena had about 7% of the vote, if I remember correctly.
6%.
And now we don't know 6%, 6.5%. In 2024, we won't know because it's part of the alliance. So he would also be curious. Usually every party is confident of their support. So we just don't know where from 6.5 to where he has gone today. Is it 12, 13, 15, 20? It's anybody's guess.
So you point that TDP has a comfortable majority in the House, but then everybody agrees, and Naidu, even Modi has acknowledged the influence or the credit, the part Pawan Kalyan played in the victory of the alliance. So why would Naidu would want to alienate such allies and so soon?
Naidu is not trying to alienate. So far I've seen him very balanced. He's not behaving as foolhardy is a strong word, but he's not rushing as much as Pawan Kalyan is doing. So Naidu is being pressured by Pawan Kalyan, as you can see. A lot of these, the examples I've given is where Naidu is being, put on the spot by Pawan Kalyan going public with his criticism while enjoying in power, right? He's a deputy chief minister criticizing his own government.
Right.
And then that's where the friction is starting. And if he doesn't stop him, it could be a runaway train. right? So he's bound to try to control him. How successful he will be has to be seen, but he can't just let that train run away. I mean, these are some pretty bad things that have happened. Saying that a home minister who is a woman, who is a Dalit, saying, "I'll throw you out, I'll take your job," when he has no authority or power to do it. He says, "I can become a home minister tomorrow if I want to." That's practically is what he said. So language like that is quite troubling. And it's a difficult challenge for Chandrababu Naidu in terms of how to, put a leash on this kind of language, this kind of, friction within the alliance.
Then the question is why Pawan Kalyan is behaving so. Then again, the question is too early into the government. He might be impulsive,
No,
but at the same time, he is also a seasoned politician now. 10 years, more than 10 years in politics, he has been helming a party. So why would he should be in a rush to criticize his own alliance government?
Yeah. No, impulsive is the great word, actually. That's what I was struggling to describe him. He's very impulsive. That's his personality, no matter how seasoned he is, one. Two, Prasad Garu, if you are head of Janasena, I mean, what would be your target for next election, 2029? You used to grow your party. How do you grow your party? By not being part of the CBN clan and friendly buddy and going along. So he's also struggling. How do I differentiate myself? How do I attract more voters? How do I grow my party for 2029? Now, the only question is timing, right? So this time he asked for 21 seats. So come 2029, he would want 50 seats, or maybe he would want to be the chief minister. All his party people are saying, Pawan Kalyan is the next chief minister. We'll tolerate Chandrababu Naidu for this term. But eventually, our guy has to be the next chief minister. So how, he's following the game plan that he should follow. And the only question is timing. And timing and the way he's going about it. And that, I think, is hurting Pawan Kalyan significantly in the sense, the irresponsible talk, the impulsive actions, like I said, the home minister and the Laddu scam and the ship. So these things are hurting. And the stampede was actually quite bad, how he went about it, where he was criticizing his own government. He's a deputy chief minister saying, demanding others to apologize. So the approach, I think, is not ideal. The approach, I think, will not help Pawan Kalyan in the long run. It is painting him in a bad light. But they have to differentiate themselves at the end of the day.
Well, TDP has been doing some sort of, balancing. It has told the party leaders not to express their personal feelings from public platforms. But Aditya wants to know, in future, if there is a conflict between TDP and Jansena, and if they decide to part ways, what, according to you, would Pawan Kalyan do? Will he go with Jagan or will he merge his party with BJP?
No, so one thing Prasad Garu said is he's a seasoned politician. Pawan Kalyan knows he cannot win on his own. So he offered unconditionally to work with TDP without putting any unreasonable demands. Between 2019 and 2024, before the general election, his position has always been, his party people have put tremendous pressure on Pawan Kalyan, saying, you have to ask for 50 seats out of the 175. He refused. He said, I can ask for 50 seats, I will win only 20, and the other 30 will be taken by YCP. Is that what you guys want? So let us ask for the seats that we can win. And they've done a very thorough analysis, and they contested in 21, and as he had anticipated, they won all 21. However, in 2019, as Prasad Garu had pointed out, 6.5% approximately, give or take, is the vote he got. And you know how many seats he got? One seat in 2019. When he ran on his own, just one seat, and even that one seat he lost. And Pawan Kalyan himself did not win. He lost the election. And that's the lesson he learned from that election, is he cannot run on his own and win, at least not yet. Now, 2024, he learned that lesson, and he went for an alliance with TDP unconditionally. Now, he will think twice, 3 times, 4 times before going on his own, because YCP vote bank is quite different from TDP Janasena vote bank. So YCP vote bank is more made up of minorities, Christian and Muslim, Dalits, and a Reddy community. And whereas the TDP Janasena is made up of more upper caste communities, higher income communities, and BCs make up the majority vote chunk of this alliance. So they're quite, separate. So Pawan Kalyan cannot dip into YCP vote bank. I mean, YCP vote bank, if it goes, it will go to Congress, but it will never come back to this side. So these two parties have to share whatever 50% of the vote they have between them. The only battle is how much. Their market segment is not 100%. At the most, they are looking at 50 to 60%. So they both have to fight within that. So neither of them, I can't say neither. At least Janasena by itself cannot get a majority to form a government if he goes his own way. So it's a difficult thing that they're fighting with.
Well, one of the major questions that we have taken up is that the impact it will have on the party as well as on NDA. This entire episode has also given enough fodder to the opposition. How do you think it will play out? As far as politics is concerned.
No, opposition is loving it. I mean, opposition is loving this discord and friction. I mean, it's to their advantage. They're showing, they're trying to show this as how dysfunctional the alliance government is, so on and so forth. So it helps the opposition to some extent. It will hurt the ruling alliance. Definitely, there is no question. It will. The ruling alliance would look like it's in a chaotic state, that they don't have his act together. So, I mean, there is nothing for opposition to complain about. But saying that, the alliance, I think, still enjoys immense popularity among voters. As of now, I don't think people are running away, and people are quite smart. They know what is going on. But I don't think they're anywhere ready or near to running to YSRCP and Jagan's party, given what has happened in the last term, 2019 to 2024, the horror stories. They're fresh in people's memories. So it is not there yet. So I think there's a lot of jostling going on right now, but I don't think it's a crisis or a tipping point yet. And I don't think we'll get there anytime soon either. So this kind of grind will go on for a while.
So what about this Sanatana Dharma mantle that Pawan Kalyan took up? Would it help him grow in the state which is not known for communal politics?
No, absolutely not. But however, as I said, he's on very good terms with BJP, and so he's towing their line. However, he started off. If you look at Pawan Kalyan fan base, especially in the urban areas where people like taxi drivers and auto drivers, they all carry Che Guevara picture on behind the taxis, behind the autos, who's a communist leader, and suddenly Pawan Kalyan also talked about leftist movement and how he respects communism, so on and so forth. Several statements that he's made. Now the sudden shift to Sanatana Dharma and the speech that he gave, that screeching speech where he said, "I am when the Laddu scam happened, I am an unapologetic Sanatani." I think that was that went viral, where he was at the top of his lungs. He was shouting, "I am an unapologetic Sanatani." So it was interesting, but no, it will not sell in Andhra Pradesh. Especially in Andhra Pradesh, BJP is not a very popular party. People see it as a party that has let down Andhra Pradesh. They have not given a special status. During Naidu's first term, from 2014 to 2019, BJP has not helped with Amaravati enough. It did not go off, and the funds that the state should have gotten, they did not get. So, and as you know, BJP did not even gather not even 1% of the vote. I think they got 0.6% of the vote in Andhra Pradesh. So it's not a very popular party. And in 2024, when they entered alliance, it was seen by people as BJP basically grabbing, using their brute force of the institutions that they have of CBI, ED, and IT. They have gotten more than their fair share, both in terms of MP and MLA seats. And the tragedy is the MP seats that they took. Some of them went to YSRCP. I think 3 of them, which is very unfortunate. If they had stayed with the TDP, they would have won. So BJP is not a popular party, and this is another thing that will hurt Pawan Kalyan. Getting too cozy with BJP is going to hurt him, and that's another plus for TDP. TDP is seen as a reluctant partner, but Pawan Kalyan is seen as a friendly partner of BJP.
Krishna also has another question for you. He says that just when things were settling down, this happens. This is a normal thing for single man run organization. He's trying to say that an organization like TDP, which is entirely focused on a few people.
No, I do not disagree with Krishna. However, if you look at most of these regional parties are feudal fiefdoms. So TDP is a one-man party. What is Jan Sena? One-man party. What is BRS or TRS? One-man party. So most of the regional parties are one-man parties. Now let's look at national parties. I mean, again, it's one or Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi ji, and it's a family party. Say again, it's a fiefdom. BJP is slightly different, but today it is run by two people, Modi and Amit Shah. So where is democracy in political parties in India? I mean, this is not like Democratic Party or Republican Party in the US, where you have a lot of internal democracy and elections happen. These are mostly fiefdoms, which is unfortunate, but it's true for most of India. We have democracy in our elections, but we don't have democracy in our parties, which is unfortunate.
So given the background of what all happened in the last few months, these frictions and the apparent insecurities among the two parties, what is the future of this alliance or the coalition government going to be in this remaining 4.5 years? And how it would be, I mean, would they be going into the next election together like they did last time?
Again, too early to know, Prasadji. The elections are so far out. But if you want me to take a gut take on it, I can. See, Chandrababu Naidu has no choice but to act. He has to do something to control Pawan Kalyan. Now, if Pawan Kalyan backs off at this point, given the threat that has been sent out saying Lokesh will be made a deputy chief minister, if that threat works and Pawan Kalyan backs down and it mellows down and acts like a ruling partner and not criticize the government and keep the criticism internal, then I think the boat will sail smoothly. But if Pawan Kalyan keeps acting like this, again the four examples I gave, the Tirupati, the stampede, and then the ship, and then the other one, if these incidents keep happening, then Lokesh will be projected, Pawan Kalyan will be actively, they'll try to diminish him, and it will be a rocky road. Now, come elections 2029, I don't think either party can afford to go on their own. So the reason is very simple, as I said. YCP voter base is different from TDP, Jansena, BJP voter base. The NDA alliance voter base is the segment. So there are 40% in this segment, 40% in YCP, which will not move no matter what. So even if, let's say, by some miracle, Jagan gets convicted and that YCP party, falls apart, that vote will go to Congress. It will not come anywhere else, that 40%. So the undecided or the floating votes are for the entire fight is for the 20% in between. So Jansena and TDP have to work together. They have no choice. And come 2029, I think there will be more, discussions and debates around how many seats that they can part, each party can part with each other. Whether Jansena will be given 21 or 30 or 40 or 50, but they cannot afford to go on their own, because if they try to go on their own, the fear would be they will help the opposition win the election, which is what has happened in 2019. I mean, in 2019, even if Pawan Kalyan vote shifted to TDP, they would not have won. But the fear is always there. So 2029, let's say there is a three-way election, which is Jansena, TDP, and YCP. Having a three-way election would strengthen YCP's position immensely. So the odds of that happening, I think, are slim.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Chakravarti Nalamuthu, for this interesting take on this entire issue. Thank you for joining in. Thank you so much, Prasad. And we will be back next week with yet another episode.